There comes a moment in life when you sit quietly, not angry, not shouting, not breaking, just tired. Tired enough to whisper, "God, why am I going through this?" And you don't ask with bitterness. You ask with honesty, with a soft voice that carries more truth than all your loudest prayers. Because deep inside, you're not looking for a miracle. You're looking for meaning. You're trying to understand why the road became so heavy, why the people you trusted changed, why the plans you made fell apart, why your heart feels different now. And what if, quietly, gently, God is allowing this season not to push you away, but to pull you closer? What if this difficult chapter is the very place where your purpose begins to unfold? You're not listening to this by accident. You didn't stumble upon these words. You didn't click randomly. You were guided here because something in your life hurts more deeply than you know how to express. Maybe you've been fighting alone for too long. Maybe you're tired of pretending you're strong when you barely feel alive inside. Maybe nobody in your world knows the storms you survive. And maybe, just maybe, you feel like God has gone quiet on you. This message is for the person who feels spiritually drained, for the soul who feels abandoned, for the heart that has prayed, pleaded, and begged, yet still feels stuck in the same painful place. You need to know this. God hasn't forgotten you. God hasn't rejected you. God hasn't punished you. You are not in this difficult situation because you're not enough, but because you are being built for more. There is meaning in what you're living through, even if you cannot see it yet. Let's be honest. Difficulty doesn't feel holy. Pain doesn't feel sacred. Hardship doesn't feel like spiritual preparation. It feels like punishment. It feels like silence. It feels like being forgotten. There was a time in your life when everything felt simpler. A time when you had hope, energy, passion, dreams. A time when you believed things would work out because you were trying your best, because you were doing the right thing. Then life shifted. Unexpectedly, violently, unfairly. Something happened. A loss, a betrayal, a failure, a prayer that went unanswered, a door that slammed shut, a person who walked away. And suddenly, you found yourself in a place you never imagined you'd be. A place that felt darker than you could admit. A place that made you ask questions you were afraid to ask. A place that left you wondering if God still loved you, or worse, if God still saw you. I want you to breathe right now, because the very fact that your heart is still beating means your story isn't finished. Hardship is not an indication of God's absence. It is often the clearest sign of His preparation. One of the hardest experiences in faith is not heartbreak, loss, or disappointment. It's silence. You pray and nothing happens. You cry and nothing changes. You ask for clarity and receive confusion. You plead for strength and feel weaker than ever. You ask for a sign and the sky remains still. You begin to wonder, if God loves me, why won't He answer? But hear this. A teacher is always silent during the test. When God is quiet, He is watching your growth. He is studying your heart. He is evaluating your courage. He is observing your endurance. He is shaping your character in ways comfort never could. God's silence does not mean He is inactive. His silence means the work is happening deep, beyond the surface of your understanding, beyond the reach of your fear, beyond the limits of your sight. You may not hear Him, but He is still speaking through what He is shaping inside you. There are things within you that only pain can reveal. strength you didn't know you had, courage you didn't know you carried, faith you didn't know you could hold. Some blessings cannot be received until certain parts of you are broken first. Broken pride, broken comfort, broken dependency on the wrong people, broken illusions of control. God sometimes breaks the shell to free the soul inside it. Think of a seed. It must break before it grows. It must be buried in darkness before it rises toward the light. Your life is mirroring the same process. You are not being buried. You are being planted. You are breaking open not because you're weak, but because God is preparing something greater to grow from you. Look at every person God used powerfully. Joseph was betrayed, abandoned, imprisoned, but that suffering positioned him to rise to a destiny greater than anything he imagined. David faced lions, bears, and giants in isolation long before he wore a crown. Moses wandered the desert for years before he became the leader of a nation. Job lost everything only to discover restoration beyond anything he had lost. Jesus endured betrayal, suffering, and the cross before resurrection came. Here is the divine pattern. Before elevation comes preparation. Before purpose comes pruning. Before calling comes shaping. Before breakthrough comes breaking. If you are being tested deeply, it's because God intends to use you greatly. Your difficulty is not a sign of God's rejection. It is the signature of His intention. There is a battle happening that your eyes cannot detect. A spiritual battle. A battle for your mind, your peace, your calling, your purpose. Some of the attacks you face are not because you are weak, but because you are dangerous to darkness. Your potential threatens the enemy. Your purpose intimidates the world. Your calling shakes the kingdom of darkness. This is why the pressure is intense. This is why the resistance is strong. This is why the obstacles appear endless. The enemy doesn't attack ordinary people. The enemy attacks those God is preparing. Your difficulty is not random. It is not meaningless. It is not an accident. There will come a day, not far from now, when everything that feels confusing today will suddenly make perfect sense. You will see the purpose behind the pain. You will see the wisdom behind the delay. You will see the protection behind the ending. You will see the mercy behind the disappointment. You will see the blessing hidden inside the breaking. You'll realize that the people who left were supposed to leave. The plans that failed were never meant to be. The opportunities that disappeared were never aligned with your destiny. The situations that broke you were the situations that shaped you. And in that moment, you will whisper through tears, God, now I understand. Not because life suddenly got easier, but because your eyes finally opened to the truth that God was with you every step of the way. Listen to me closely. If you are in a difficult situation right now, you are not failing. You are not forgotten. You are not being punished. You are not alone. You are being prepared. Prepared for opportunities you can't see. Prepared for relationships rooted in truth. Prepared for blessings that require stronger shoulders. Prepared for a life bigger than the one you prayed for. Prepared for a future that demands a stronger version of you. This storm you're in is not the end of you. It is the making of you. God is not finished with your story. He is rewriting it. He is strengthening it. He is elevating it. He is preparing you for a chapter so beautiful, so unexpected, so divine, that your current pain will one day feel like a necessary doorway. And when that day comes, you will look back on this difficult moment and say with absolute clarity, God didn't put me in a difficult situation to harm me. He put me there to prepare me, strengthen me, and reveal who I was always meant to be. Your story isn't over. Your strength is not gone. Your faith is not wasted. Your purpose is not lost. Hold on. You're not being broken. You're being built. And soon, you will rise.